Joined today by MPP Ernie Hardman. And Juan Rojas. Ernie, of course, is our longtime MPP for Oxford and the PC critic for municipal affairs and housing, and Juan Rojas is a prospective homebuyer. I'm here today to talk about the issue that it's on everyone's minds, Ontario's out-of-control housing market. For years, the Ontario PC Party has been ringing alarm bells about the province's affordability crisis. Whether it's hydro, the cost of owning a car, or today's cost of putting the roof over your head, it is a challenge in Ontario. After 14 years of Liberal governments, it's widely acknowledged the cost of housing has reached an unprecedented and unaffordable level in the province of Ontario. Ontario families work hard, and they worry how they're going to be able to afford their home or condo, whether they can achieve that dream. It's reached a crisis point. The dream of home ownership has become just that, a dream that is out of reach for many. Last year, we saw the average selling price for a home in the GTA jump 33% from the previous year. And while there were 18,500 homes on the market for sale in January of 2007, a decade later, there's only 1,524. Think about that. January 2007, 18,000 homes on the market, 1,524 this January. The shortage today is very concerning. Unless changes are made, it will only get worse. New census data from Stats Canada shows that populations in Toronto and surrounding municipalities are growing. Between 2012 and 2015, Ontario's population is expected to have increased by 533,000. However, only 267,000 housing starts took place in that same period. So, as you can see, there is a growing demand for a diminished supply. It's a major problem that housing supply is at a record low level and much lower compared to a decade ago. It's resulted in home prices that are simply out of reach for many families and first-time home buyers. And it's not just Toronto, which is facing the worst shortage of housing in 16 years. It's not just regions surrounding the GTA. We're seeing this pricing trend now in cities such as London, Niagara, Kitchener-Waterloo, Peterborough, and my own hometown of Barrie, Ontario. Part of the problem is the permit approval times. In Ontario, it can take 18 months to get municipal approvals for standard single-family, multiple dwelling projects that do not require rezoning. If you get into rezonings, obviously it's a much longer process. Here are some examples when there's no issues of permit approvals. Aurora, 19 months. Ajax, 19 months. Toronto, 17 months. Hamilton, 17 months. These delays pose another challenge. Delays can cost developers thousands of dollars in employee salaries, interest on loans, and other items, which costs eventually are passed on to home buyers. What we've heard is major alarm bells that are being ring by all those in the sector. Last week, the federal finance minister requested a meeting with Mayor John Tory and Ontario's finance minister. And with upcoming provincial budget, we know that there may be measures taken. While there is no easy fix, what we don't need is speculative chatter or poorly thought out or hasty decisions. What is important is that there's feedback from across the housing sector. We need to engage industry experts, those on the ground floor, not just discussions behind closed doors at the Premier's office. That is why the Ontario PC Party is putting forth recommendations on the housing file for the Liberal government to include in their upcoming budget. These recommendations are based on extensive consultation with both policy experts, industry leaders, and everyday Ontarians. First, we are asking the government to address the supply of housing. This includes reducing red tape that builders face behind the needless regulatory burden that's limiting supply to new housing and increasing cost that is always passed on to consumers. Second, there must be a commitment to address demand, including collecting data on speculative vacancies. Third, the government must assess its own housing and land portfolio to determine how many homes they own in the GTA and whether it could be released, and there is a significant government ownership of supply in the GTA. Fourth, we are calling for the establishment of a panel of industry experts. This would include young professionals, planners, the nonprofit housing, realtors, and homeowners. My colleague MPP Hardman will touch on this further. My fifth recommendation is about rental housing. To date, the Premier's wild speculation and the constant stream of policy rumors have started to hurt real people. Musing about getting involved in the housing market affects the rental market. It has created uncertainty and chaos. Neither tenants, landlords, nor builders know what to expect. Landlords and owners have seen all the media reports of foreign buyers tax, reports of new capital gains taxes, report of rent control. As a result, we've heard stories of landlords and owners in a bid to get ahead of the new rules, doubling rents. And that creates an even further crisis in affordability. I'm calling on Premier Wynne to release whatever plan this week, not in the budget, not next month, but immediately. I'd like now to invite Juan to say a few words about his family struggle to find a home in the GTA. All these recommendations in today address some of the challenges that Juan and his family are facing. People like Juan, his family deserve to see credible action to address the housing affordability in Ontario. His family, like so many, are really struggling and frankly frustrated with Ontario's real estate market. Juan, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
No problem. Thank you. Morning, everyone. So as we spoke, I started looking at for a home about 1.5 years ago. So our journey took us back probably at the beginning of 2015, where we decided to look for a home because we had a daughter. And obviously the current home that we had was a little smaller. We needed more space. My wife's actually expecting right now for another kid. And we wanted a better school. So at the time, we hired a realtor, and then we started looking for a house around Etobicoke. Reason why Etobicoke, because there was a lot of good houses, big houses, but also there's a lot of good schools around that area, and also have family there. At the beginning, we started looking into around the budget, around $700,000, $800,000, and we were able to go in and put in some bids. However, we were always outbid by people more than $100,000, $150,000, getting homes close to $1 million. From there, we worked with a realtor for almost 6 months, and then we thought maybe it was a realtor, so we switched a realtor to a different realtor. And then we expanded our budget and also even expanded our area, even looking into maybe Vaughan or Woodbridge. Again, looking at areas that had schools with good ratings. Again, we had the same issue where in the last, like I said, year and a half, we put in offers for more than 10 houses, and most of those houses we've actually gone way over $100,000 to $200,000 over the budget, and we were really going in with almost like our entire budget that we had. However, we had no luck. This obviously has caused stress on both myself and my wife, and now we're thinking, well, what can we do? Should we stay in the same house? Should we maybe, instead of upgrade, downsize maybe into a condo? Obviously trying to go into those areas that have good schools. The other option, again, has been to leave Toronto. However, since I moved from South America to here, I've lived in Toronto. This is all I know. I love the city, and honestly, I would love to stay in Toronto because obviously it's been my home since I've landed here in Canada. Now again, so I'm hoping that some of the recommendations that we put in today really helps us out, because I know there's a lot of other individuals such as myself that are currently looking for houses. I've been looking for homes for over 1 year, and they don't have any luck.
Okay, well, thank you, Juan, for sharing your challenge, and I'm going to ask MPP Ernie Hardman to speak about the committee.
Well, thank you very much, Patrick, and good morning, and thank you all for being here. I've heard from people not just in the GTA, but at home in Oxford and areas like Kitchener-Waterloo, that housing is becoming more and more unaffordable. Young people are seeing prices rise faster than they can save, so every day the dream of home ownership gets further away. We need to stabilize the real estate market, but there's no one single action that will fix the complex housing challenges that Ontario faces. A house is the largest purchase that most people ever make, and we need to ensure that the plan to stabilize the market is based on evidence and on expert advice. It must consider long-term impacts and the entire housing spectrum. Otherwise, the problem could get worse. That's why today we're calling on the government to create a housing affordability panel that includes representatives from all of the different sectors that are part of the housing industry and planning process. The panel must include the people who plan the houses, the people who build them, and the people who live in them. It should include land economists, environmental groups, and nonprofit housing organizations. It should also include a young future homeowner struggling to buy their first home, and a current homeowner representing those depending on the equity in their homes for their retirement. Later today, I will introduce a motion which calls on the government to create this panel, and if it is not included in the budget, I will bring that motion forward for debate. We believe that bringing these experts together to create a comprehensive plan is the first step towards stabilizing the real estate market and giving young people back the dream of home ownership. Thank you very much.